And you guys are going to love this one.
Welcome back to Northern Perspective, everybody. I am tired.
Well, you just drove, what, 6 hours home?
Yes.
Ryan, like, literally left committee when he was finished speaking and drove straight home, and didn't get home until about 7 o'clock.
Yeah. So, yeah, there you go. Anyway, but I'm going to try and keep the energy level up, folks. So, there we go. Anyway, thanks, everybody, for joining us. Thank you to everybody who watched live today, either on Parview or the other channels that were showing it. Thank you to those other channels for covering it. Much appreciated, because this is a really, really important issue. Before we go any further, house rules.
House rules are the same 3 as always. You guys probably know them by now, but here they are again. Respect each other and the show. No selling, soliciting, or spamming in the chat. And please do not use profanity. Joining us this evening for moderators, we have Randy and Cujo from Northern Perspective, and Barnaby will be joining us shortly.
And we're going to put up a poll.
So the poll I'm going to put up is whether or not you guys like having the cats on the stream with us. You know, we let them in the room while we're live streaming because we thought you guys like to see them, but every now and then we do get some complaints. So I'm going to throw up a poll. It is easy for us just to shut the door, but we thought you guys like seeing them. So I guess a poll will determine for us. So just give me a moment to get that going.
There you go. Anyway, folks, what a trip. And I mean that both figuratively and literally. It was it was a trip. This kind of started as I was going to go up for the night in order to be there with Tamara and Chris during their sentencing hearing, which, as everybody knows, happened on the Tuesday, and then seemingly at the last minute, I got the email that, hey, are you going to come to committee? And we said,
can you come to committee?
Yeah, can you? Will you come to committee? and then we said, okay, I guess the trip is getting extended. So that was interesting, finding a somewhere to stay for consecutively for all 3 nights, because there was, for some reason, it was really, really booked up in town, and we were looking at the challenge of, one night over here, one night over here, one night over here, but thankfully we managed to.
It all came together,
to find a place.
And thank you to Marion for coordinating that for us.
100%. So, it was interesting. Preparing all yesterday, and then going to sleep relatively easily, but then I guess my brain at 7 o'clock in the morning started shifting into overdrive, and then despite my attempts to go back to sleep at 7:30, I finally got up and just started getting ready, and then it was just packing up, walking around, and just trying to stop and kind of take in the moment as I was walking over to West Block, and just trying to take in the gravity of this. Like, I've never sat in committee. I've never answered questions. I've never.
You've never even been in a court of law, right?
No.
Which would have been similar, but yeah.
Well, and then just taking in that this is a study that is looking at an organization that's affecting the Charter 3 rights of people across the country. I'm going to probably be, in a couple of years, if my eyesight keeps failing as it is, one of these people that's going to have a hard time seeing the ballot. And, I look forward 9 years when our son is going to be of age to vote. Is he going to need assistance if there's a ballot like this? And I think of the seniors across the country and all the other people that have disabilities that have a hard time with these ballots. And I just really, I took it incredibly seriously going in as to what my responsibility was going to be, and then kind of seeing some of the footage of me responding, yeah, I looked pretty serious. So,
Well, I want to read this comment from Maureen for you. It says, "You did good. Proud of you. Looks like Mr. Cooper was proud of you as well."
oh, that's great. Thank you. I've seen many comments by many people on our short, on our posts, and on the live stream earlier, and some of you have even emailed, and I can't thank you enough for the support. And I was really, really, really glad to see that that I did NP Nation proud. So thank you. I was expecting to be nervous until I started reading my statement, and then I would just kind of fall into the zone, and thankfully that's exactly what happened. And I was ready to go. So, but we're gonna take a look at that shortly. Let's get through some of the initial stuff, and Tony's going to keep me and YouTube honest. We have Judy Lioness. Welcome to NP Supporter. Thank you very, very much. And Lawrence Neal for $10. I wonder how far this will go. Hopefully there will be some consequences for the longest ballot committee. Watch Thomas smile then. They need to know that our democracy isn't a joke or a game.
100%.
I agree. One thing I am very confident about, folks, is that there's going to be changes to the legislation. If you look at the way the Conservatives are approaching this, as well as the Bloc, but mainly the Conservatives, they are asking all of these academics very specific questions and the same question. And what these questions are, in reviewing them, is, do you support the 100 unique signature requirement? And they're working hard to get all of these people to say yes, and so far they have. And the next one is an individual agent per candidate, so that you can't have one agent representing 200 people. And the answer to all of that is yes. And sounds like I gave them something very interesting to think about today when it comes to the political party, but we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Before you continue, I want you to look who showed up in chat.
Ha! Welcome to the stream, Thomas.
I don't think that's the real Thomas. I doubt he would get a membership to Northern Perspective.
Maybe he got one for free. I don't know. That would be funny if it... it's funny if it's not, and funny if it is. So either way,
yeah, I suppose
it's not going to change the way we not going to change the way we conduct it. Anyway, Lawrence Neal, member for 15 months. The longest ballot committee certainly got some attention. I'm not sure it's the kind of attention they were looking for. I loved it when Mr. Cooper came unglued on Thomas. He was so animated. Yes, he was. And Lawrence Neal for $20. I will give credit to the Liberal chair for calling out Thomas as to the gravity and the seriousness of the situation. Even the Liberal MPs were asking great questions. This shows how nonpartisan this issue is. And yes, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, Lawrence, because this is why I'm very confident something's going to happen, because I don't think you're going to see the Liberals getting in the way of this, because if they do, then it actually looks extremely bad on them, because what then happens is the Bloc and the NDP and the Conservatives start talking about, are you against people with disabilities? Why are you trying to prevent people with disabilities? So it takes them down a very bad political pathway, and this is an easy win, right? So the Conservatives are going to be pushing hard for this, and the best part is it's going to give them a win in Parliament. So this should be a very fast piece of legislation to get through.
I was going to say that I'm not sure if this will result in any charges or anything like that, but I do firmly believe that it will result in things changing.
The Contrarian 52, member for 14 months. Thank you very much for that. And J.R. Cox, welcome to NP Supporter. About time you showed up. Thank you so much. P. White, member for 14 months. Amazing job, Brian. Congratulations. My MP merch arrived today, so I watched testimony wearing my new ball cap. Hubby said I'm an MP groupie.
Awesome. Actually, we got our MP merch yesterday, I think it was. So this is the...
There you go.
That's the Maple Leaf one.
And then here's the Parliament one with the signature, and everybody can purchase this until the end of the calendar year. Yeah,
so this wasn't the giveaway ones. This was an additional one that we liked the design, and we decided to put it up on the store.
And we're not cheating and giving ourselves the giveaway ones. No. So We didn't think that would be right. And we have Shelley Cool. Welcome to NP supporter. Thank you. Alice Avonlea. Great to see you for $5. Who always exercises freedom of speech, doesn't jeopardize democracy. Dangerous are the ones who want to control and prohibit it. Yes, yes, that's certainly true. Shelley T. Welcome to NP supporter. Thank you. And Alice dropping 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Alice. And Austin Gauthier for $10. Missed the Parlview stream, but glad I made it on time for this one. And here's a little gift for all the early birds. Thank you.
Thank you.
Capitalist Spy for $2. Hey, you. Thank you very much. Anubis Hades for $2. Glad you got my email, Ryan. I meant it. You rock. Thank you very much. And glad you got the reply.
And did you get the 2 gifted memberships? We got 5 from Alice Avonlea.
I got that one.
And we have 20 from Austin Gauthier.
That's what he meant, because YouTube wasn't showing me that. So thank you very much for that, Austin. And this is a bit of a longer name. So Jim Smith, a.k.a. Cod Snapper, for $2.79. Nice to see you set them straight. Thank you very much. Our Darkstar for $2.79. Well done today, Ryan. Thank you. Drassel for $2. Hello, NP Nation, from my plane to Bogota. Thank you. And Jim Smith, a.k.a. Cod Snapper, for $2.79. Keep up the goodies of work. Thank you very much. Gwen H., member for 8 months. Great job in committee, Ryan. Thank you. Kim Brown for $2. I saw lots of comments by Kim Brown on other channels today. Thank you, Kim. Phenomenal job today. Articulate and based in facts. Thank you. Shannon's Copper for $2. You were fire. Thank you. Rose says for $5. Just got home from work, and you say that I cannot sell things, but I totally sold a goblin to Barnaby from Northern Perspective this weekend. Amazing. And Patrick Kicky for $2.79. Cat Lover for the win.
Awesome.
We have Gordon Meir for $5. NP isn't the same without the cats. Please keep them. Jim Smith, a.k.a. Cod Snapper, for $2.79. You did a fantastic job, Brian. Thank you very much for that. Libby T for $10. You did a very professional job today, and here is kudos to you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'm very proud of him. Brian called me almost right away, and I said, I'm so proud of you. This is so important, not just for like this study, but for democracy. And you did a phenomenal job.
Well, and it's important for everybody to see that independent media can be a force for good in this country. So we're just going to keep pushing. And Pam Lambert, I'm up for 21 months. Thank you for reminding me, Pam. Great job, Ryan. Now everybody hit the like button. Thank you very much.
Yeah, we're very far behind. We're like 50% behind.
And J. Ann Palladino for $2. I'm guessing you will have a ton more supporters. I'm one of the hopes is that people from the left were watching that and realize, hey, you know what? Northern Perspective isn't a far-right rage machine. They're just normal people, and they're trying to affect change in this country, and hopefully they see that. So CGR 902 for $2. I vote for more cats on this stream.
Okay, that gives me an excuse to get another one.
Nope. P. White for $20. The work you both do is incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Brian Campbell for $100. Thank you so much, Brian. Hello, Tanya and Ryan. Take Ryan out for dinner because he totally rocked today. I am proud to be part of NP Nation, as most of others of NP Nation. Took work off today to watch Ryan. Oh, thank you so much. And we are so proud of this community as well. So the feeling is mutual. And Ellie, member for 11 months. Good job, Ryan. I'm proud of you for some strange reason. Thank you. And again, I would not have been there if it weren't for all of you, right? Well,
I think it shows also that just the average Canadian who loves their country can work hard and do something good for their country. Like most of the other people on that panel were academics. They had, a PhD behind their name. They've been studying this stuff for a really long time. Ryan's not, right? Ryan is a professional. He's an IT professional, but he's not like a PhD. Hasn't been studying politics his whole life.
I should have a PhD in politics by this point.
Yeah, you should. An honorary degree. But the point is that, you don't need to be some highly educated person to affect change and to really ask for that change in Parliament.
Yeah, and that was the thing. Even though I was sitting right next to a PhD, didn't faze me at all. And that's a benefit of actually being in my career. I was never educated in IT. It was just self-taught, as I would say he's probably was, and most of the other IT guys in this world are. And that's the amazing thing about IT people. And that's not taking anything away from people who are educated in IT, but there's a lot, I'd say the vast majority of IT people in this country, we're not educated on it. It's just you started screwing around, and that's how you learn. And
it just happens.
When you break things, then you had to learn how to fix them, and then it just progresses and progresses, and then you learn more and more and more, and then you get hungry for it because it's a passion. So so in my career, I've had to, go into CEOs' offices and go into board meetings and all of this stuff. And then you just learn that these people are people just like me. Who cares? So that's why, and Tawny's still learning
this. Yes.
But it's why I can sit down with Pierre and not be nervous at all and just start talking to him. Because I'm just looking at him as another person, another Canadian, and someone I really want to talk to. So, but it takes time to get used to that. So it's not that I'm better. It's just I've had the experience, and it's a lot easier. So, Rico Falsetto for $10. Regarding the cats, it's your show. Run it how you wish. Don't listen to the haters.
Thank you.
Donald,
I'm sure Pazuzu would appreciate that.
Donald Medill for $2. Thank you very much. Noah Martinock. Martin Chich, hopefully I said that correctly. Welcome to NP Supporter. Thank you. Van Shank Guitars, great to see you. Dropping 5 memberships. Thank you. Stephen Jensen's for $10. Quote, you can tell a lot about a people and country by the way they treat their animals. Plus or minus Tucker Carlson speaking in Australia, people versus the state, ostriches. Thank you very much for that. And Paul Barnett, member for 15 months. So proud. Thank you. Really. Gordon Meir dropping 20 memberships. Thank you very much, Gordon. So grateful for the support. And we
let's see if we can get to 2,500 likes, and I'll drop some memberships too.
There you go.
So that's your challenge for tonight.
Lazarus for $20. Watching your video from yesterday when Pierre got back up to ask Carney the questions he asked, I for the first time heard actual anger in his voice. Right? Not just the put on sorts he does. Haven't watched your committee yet. Yeah, Carney was legit angry because Pierre was.
He was twisting that knife, right?
He found it.
Yeah.
He found it, and because he found it, you're gonna see more of it. So. Solid Moon for $10. Do you think an audit against those two brothers would make sense? See if there were any funding shenanigans. Well, here's the thing, folks. I know a lot of people are asking who's funding these people, but it costs nothing for these guys to do this. That's the whole issue with this. It literally costs them nothing. All they need is a plane ticket, or in the case of Battle River Crowfoot, they may have just driven over because they're in Manitoba. So. It costs them nothing. That's the whole problem with this. So there actually is no funding required to do this.
Yeah, because they have to bring everything to the returning office, and that's how they sign up the candidates.
So, Parker Walsh for $5. Great job today. It's crazy to think how far the channel has come. Keep up the great work. Your fact-based reporting is what this country needs. Thank you.
Thank you.
Platinum Sniper for 20 months. You did awesome, Brian. Be interesting to see what comes from this committee. Yes, believe me, we will be watching very close.
Yeah, they're going to be doing they are doing an entire study on it. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next, and if they're going to be doing like other studies in the meantime, or if they're just going to kind of hash this out all at once and then go from there. Like it's going to be really interesting. I think we're probably going to be following the longest ballot study. We'll probably be doing most, if not all, of the meetings that they do have on it. And
working with the whistleblower, we're working on possibly providing another witness to committee. So the work hasn't stopped. The work has not stopped.
There's a lot of behind the scenes work.
Yeah. So, and it's not the longest ballot whistleblower.
Whistleblower number 2.
Whistleblower number 2. And I think this is a true Canadian RCST. Thank you very much for the $20 super chat. You did great today. Keep it up. Taking massive strides. Thank you.
Thank you
very much. Linda, member for 17 months. Watch you live. Well done. You showed everyone that being an investigative reporter doesn't equal MSM. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Anubis Hades for $2. Also, Tanya, you rock as well for supporting Ryan.
Thank you. It's really hard when Ryan's not home. Vincent is a sweet little boy, but he has so much energy and I can't keep up with him. But I think I kept him occupied and happy the whole time his dad was gone.
Yeah, Vincent also gets a lot of separation anxiety as well. So, but
he did pretty good this time.
Yeah, which is really good.
He did really good. I was just keeping him busy, so he had a lot of fun this week.
Chris Van Baum for $5. Ryan, heck of a job in committee today. We're all proud of you. Watching Cooper's face when you explain things, he looked more and more angry. And Andrew Christie for $5. I was watching your testimony in committee today while at work. You did awesome, Ryan. Love the show and NP so much. And
thank you.
I've talked about my eye contact issue. I'm sure everybody saw it in committee. I kept looking down and tried to keep looking up, but it's an issue I have. So it's actually going to be interesting to see what Cooper and
Blaine
Calkins, what their reactions were, because I have yet to see it. So because I wasn't looking at
Yeah,
them.
Ryan literally drove home. We had dinner, and then Ryan put Vincent in the bath and to bed, and then started doing the clips.
So, barking up the right tree, member for 17 months. Great performance, Ryan. The dog screaming at my work. Way hard to hear. Everything's so glad we can all take a look together. You guys rule. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll do a few more of these, and then we'll get to it. Nicholas La Victoire, a member for 7 months. Merch just arrived. Love the look and feel, and the zip vest fits perfectly. Also,
Awesome.
You should be very proud of defending democracy, Ryan. Thank you. I'm very humbled, but also very proud of today.
But it's important, and you didn't just like shirk that responsibility. You know, you took it very seriously.
Oh yeah. Yep.
You gave it the respect it deserves.
Yes.
You weren't showing up the way a certain individual did, looking like he just relaxed.
I didn't show up like a hobo. Rusty Shackelford for $5. Tanya is proof every good man has a good woman behind him. Great work today, Ryan.
Oh,
True
thank
words.
you.
True words. And Revis Hayes for $5. Unfortunately, I feel that the left will keep running further and further to crazy, and anyone who doesn't support the crazy is a somethingist. Well, we'll see.
You know, I feel like things are starting to swing back to the middle. It might take a little while to get there, but I think even people who were really rabid about certain issues even 2 years ago are kind of backing off now.
I saw a post today, and I haven't seen the poll, but I saw a post today that the latest nanos numbers would result in a conservative minority government. So let me just take a quick look to see if there's anything on.
Yeah, you can't say
yet.
something like that without giving us the receipts. Come on.
So it was a Canada Proud post. So, and they never post their sources other than they just say Nanos October 8th poll, but I only see the October 3rd poll. So we will see. But wouldn't surprise me because the support under Nanos has been dropping like a stone for the last couple of months. So there you go. And Easy Joe for $5, 25. Oh, sorry, no, Doo for $10. Ryan, great job at committee. You were very professional and well put together, and kept your cool. The longest ballot committee should take notes. Right. Yeah, thank you. And Easy Joe for $5, 25 years, and I realized a lot of problems are old world blues, rivalries, and ways. Glad you are breaking out of that old world. Perfect.
Thank you.
And what is this? What is this? I don't know what I'm doing. More cats. Thank you.
All right, see, we need a third cat. I keep telling you, we need one. You know, Vincent and I it wasn't recently. It was It was like a couple of weeks ago. We saw this cat at the pet store. You know how sometimes they have like the foster cats there for people to adopt, and she loved Vincent. And I came home and tried to convince Ryan to let me get another cat, and he's like, "No, absolutely not." But I can take really good care of him.
I think I need to make a new clip where it's like nope. So
when I start asking you for cats.
Yeah, pretty much. And We'll do 3 more. Alan W. for $5. Thank you very much. Liberals live in cognitive dissonance. Justin Brown for $7. It would be worse because those who voted for the Liberals in Ontario and Quebec will have to reevaluate their choices because it would be nothing. And Heather Marie for $7. Wonderful job today, Ryan. You did amazing. I was nervous for you, but you blew it out of the water. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, folks. I've trimmed 2 hours of committee down to 31 minutes. It's mostly going to be the Ryan show. So for all of you who tuned in just to see David Moscrop,
sorry.
My sincere apologies. Not really. My sincere apologies. And I do want to say, to David's credit, he was very professional. He was very cordial before and after. And we even discussed the revelation that I gave him a little bit more after. So I have to say nothing but positive things about the interaction with David Moscrop, to his credit, even though he, in his personal politics, he leans very left. But it's important to be able to come to venues like this, even when you're on different sides of the political spectrum, and realize that you can come to some common ground on some issues. So so I just want to say that about Dr. Moscrop. So I'm not going to be dumping on him or anything like that, because he came in good faith, and he showed that he had an open mind today. So that's what I want to say about that. Okay, folks, let's take a look.
Mr. Davies, 5 minutes, please.
Thank you for the invitation to appear. My name is Ryan Davies, and I am president and co-host of Northern Perspective, an independent Canadian media platform focused on parliamentary transparency and civic education. I'm a 20-year IT professional and executive where I have spent my career leading teams, improving systems, processes, and organizations across broadcasting, healthcare, data management, and government sectors. We have already made multiple recommendations within our parliamentary petition on how to address the longest ballot problem, such as mandating 100 unique signatures, candidates signing an affidavit of genuine intent to run, and fining candidates up to $2,000 if they fail to live up to the genuine intent to run. We first reported on the long ballot during the Toronto St. Paul's by-election, but began a deeper investigation after the group publicly announced its plan to run more than 200 candidates in the Battle River Crowfoot by-election. What followed raised serious concerns about the integrity of the electoral process. In July, following our expose on the group's origins, we interviewed a verified LBC whistleblower and obtained internal communications, including text messages, emails, and organizer videos sent to LBC candidates. These materials, along with the group's own public posts, reveal 4 key findings. 1. The internal communications show a centralized direction, coordinated timelines, standardized messaging, and top-down instructions from organizers to participants, functioning in practice like a political party apparatus rather than a decentralized protest. I believe this is a direct violation of the Elections Canada Act, as they are operating as a registered political party despite not being registered. 2. Our evidence shows that organizers state they, quote, already have the signatures for participants who had not yet registered or even agreed to run. The communications we received from the whistleblower acknowledges that signatures were collected before organizers knew who the candidates would be. This is a clear violation of Section 67 of the Canada Elections Act and may amount to forgery under Section 366 of the Criminal Code. In his testimony on October 2nd, the Chief Electoral Officer confirmed that Elections Canada has seen the longest ballot committee submit blank forms in past elections and confirmed that the candidate name must be present. 3. Key internal messages state that there were no authorized delegates acting for specific candidates while signatures were being collected. Electors were asked to sign without a properly authorized representative of that candidate, as emails show organizers asking candidates to ensure they designate their delegate after signatures had been collected. This violates Section 67(4)(a) of the Elections Canada Act and constitutes impersonation under Section 480.1(e). This was further corroborated by reports from volunteers for the Libertarian candidate, Michael Harris, during the Battle River Crowfoot by-election, who heard from electors that individuals had approached them falsely claiming to be collecting signatures on behalf of his party. 4.
Separate from signatures, our investigation uncovered a substantial and sustained overlap between LBC and the Marxist-Leninist Party of Canada. LBC messaging, announcements, and narrative pieces regularly appeared on the MLPC's official website and social channels, with posts encouraging voters to support candidates of the Longest Ballot Project. We could not find similar statements on any other social media platform, including the Longest Ballot committees. We invited the LBC to appear on air to discuss their conduct, but they refused the opportunity. One candidate initially agreed to an interview, but then withdrew after being told by organizers they were not allowed because the narrative could not be controlled. Shortly after our whistleblower episode aired, we then received a legal demand to remove all coverage of the Longest Ballot Committee within 48 hours. We declined. We compiled our evidence package and emailed Elections Canada on July 25th, 2025 at 12:06 p.m. Eastern. To date, we have received no response. The Longest Ballot Committee is not a protest. It is a coordinated campaign of mischief designed to make a mockery of our democratic process by violating the Charter 3 rights of Canadians across this country. Nothing more.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davies. We'll now turn to Mr. Cooper for 6 minutes, please.
So I think my last two words kind of confused the chair, because I think he was wondering if they meant I had nothing more to say, or if I was linking it back to the paragraph that I just read, which that was the intent. I had gone back and forth whether or not I wanted to say, you know, thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions, but I'm a witness. That's kind of the point that I'm there, so it was kind of redundant. And shout out to Franco Terrazzano, by the way. I'd spoken with him a little bit about any tips for committee, because he's been to committee many times as the federal director of the Canadian Taxpayer Federation, and like seriously, Franco is the guy that you want as your best man, as your best friend, your neighbor. He is just such a good-hearted, pure Canadian. I cannot say enough good things about Franco. He's just
again,
amazing.
Just working towards a good solution for all this garbage that's going on in Canada. He's really looking out for the taxpayers. So again, top-notch guy. Thank you very much, Franco.
Absolutely. And also I will thank Tanya, because we've had many conversations on, you know, what was going to go into committee. She was helping with the opening statement and critiquing that, and got to give a shout out to Ellie as well, aka Vesper. Great friend. Proud that we were able to meet him. As aggressive as he can be sometimes, that Lebanese blood, but he's a true Canadian, and he cares deeply about this country, and we really appreciate the friendship and help that he's provided, and everybody else that's been around. There's so many people. It's hard to thank everybody, but everyone has been such an integral part on this journey.
So what were you thinking? What were you feeling?
I was nervous about 30 seconds in, and then everything just kind of slid away. I was just focusing on not fumbling. I fumbled once, but I was able to recover pretty well and keep going. And I was so annoyed because my opening statement had survived the trip up to Ottawa, had survived the trip into the hotel, and then somehow the trip to committee, when I took it out, there was like a big crease on the side, and I was not impressed. But that's why I actually had to hold it and not just have it on the table. But it was what it was. And one of the first things I did is literally laid out all the evidence in front of me, and I had my legislation pile with all the acts that we'd highlighted that were violated, the court docket from the 2017 Alberta ruling, had the Marxist-Leninist Party stuff over here, and it's funny, I can remember exactly how I laid it out, but and then the specific documents of the whistleblower that I was going to be referring to, and everything else. It was I just had it all laid out, and I said to Dr. Muscat, I'm like, let me know if I'm encroaching on your air, because he had one piece of paper in his phone and his opening statement. That was it. So
To be fair, he's done it before, so he probably kind of like knew the drill and knew what he needed and where he needed it.
well, and he hadn't done like 5 or 6 videos exposing the longest ballot either. So there you go. Go through a couple more of the super chats before we continue. Not going to hit too many of them, but Celine for $2. Those cats lift my spirits up seeing them. There you go.
Aw,
Thank you.
They lift my spirits up too. Ryan's always being mean to them, but when nobody's looking, he's definitely cuddling with them.
Nope.
He is too. He loves those cats more than anything.
Verbal Murder for $5. Been watching since the beginning. Very proud of how far you guys have come. Good job, Ryan. Never stop. NP Nation makes a difference. Keep it up. Thank you. Adam Canadian, member for 18 months. So proud of you guys, and your hard work has gotten NP. Great job, Brian and Tanya, holding the fort. Deep respect and gratitude to both of you. Thank you very much. And Joyce in Quebec, member for 17 months. I've watched you live. Impeccable in presentation. What did you think of the other guests' contribution? It's hard to evaluate just because he was answering very different questions in most cases to me. I think some of the questions he was asked I should have been answering, to be honest, because a lot of the questions he was being asked were IT and AI in
Yeah, I noticed that while I was watching at home. I thought it was so strange that you had said, you were an IT professional for 20 plus years, and none of the Liberals were asking you those kinds of social media, misinformation, disinformation on the internet type
AI.
question. Yeah, it was a little odd, to be frank.
And they can ask whoever they want.
Yeah, but
I will just say to them that was kind of a missed opportunity, because I would have answered it in good faith. So anyway,
maybe they do know who we are.
Carter Butler for $5. Any plans to bring awareness on how MAID is being offered inappropriately to the disabled community and veterans for poverty and PTSD? Thank you. We're
not planning on doing it. It's just sometimes we get really swamped with everything that's going on. Like, there's only the two of us, and things happen so quickly. There's new news every single day, and sometimes we're not able to bring to light everything that we want to bring to light.
It's very tough to choose what we're doing. There's certain things that we have to keep doing that we found, like question period. It's just something we have to keep doing
to keep the channel running.
And then we try and complement that with either the committee studies or the bills or things like that. So as Tony said, we're not planning on covering that. So it's translating that. It's a possibility that we may do a video on that in the future.
Especially Michael Cooper was speaking out against MAID specifically before the election, and I know it's something that Andrew Lawton has taken up now after the election. So it would be good to get some MP comment on that issue.
In my opinion, MAID should never be offered. It should be asked for. If you're going to take advantage of it, you should never be offering it to people as a solution.
Well, and especially if it's like, our healthcare system can fix you in maybe 6 months, but you can get MAID right now.
Right.
That's
and then
really
we'll
bad.
fix you right quick.
That's really bad.
It's disgusting.
And now that they're also using organs from patients who have had MAID, they're like donating the organs. Like, that to me is just dystopian.
Honestly, it brings me right back to the meaning of life and the organ donor skit. That's what it brings me back to.
And I am an organ donor. I have nothing against organ donation, because once I'm gone, nobody's going to be, I'm not going to be using them anymore. So I'm not against organ donation, but the fact that they're offering MAID to people and then using those organs for somebody else is just weird to me.
Yeah, like John Cleese showing up. Can we have your liver?
Yeah.
I'm still using it. So... Rose says for $2. It's true. I learned by fixing the things I broke. There you go. Ryan Herbert, welcome to NP supporter. Thank you very much. Bubble Avenue member for 9 months. This calls for a Professor Farnsworth Pazuzu meme. And Steve Archer for $5. Thank you for your hard work. Very proud of you too. Thank you. Thank you very much.
And we also have Kim Brown gifting 10 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you so much. And I'll gift some once we get to 2,500 likes, so please hit that like button.
And here we go, folks. Back to committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the witnesses. Mr. Davies, you testified, but you've interviewed and you've been in communication with a whistleblower who has been associated with the longest ballot committee. That whistleblower provided you with communications from the committee, including text messages, emails, as well as photographic evidence, correct? That's correct. Okay. Now, pursuant to the Canada Elections Act, in order to get onto the ballot, a candidate must receive the signatures of at least 100 electors endorsing their candidacy. Some of the text messages and email evidence from the committee indicates or evidences that the committee was collecting signatures from electors before they had candidates to collect signatures on behalf of in violation of the Canada Elections Act. Is that fair?
That's fair. And even some of the text messages that we have from the whistleblower confirm that they hadn't even started the process and were asking for help in order to navigate that process while the signatures were already in hand, as evidenced by the text messages.
Okay, so I'm going to go through some of the relevant text messages and emails, copies of which you provided to me. I have an email dated May 30th, 2024, a mass email, or it appears to be a mass email, sent out from the longest ballot committee. This was during the Toronto St. Paul's by-election. It reads, please excuse me, just throwing out the invite one last time. And then it goes on to say, we've collected the 100 nomination signatures you will need, and we'd love to have you, but certainly understand there are many, many, many good reasons not to participate in our crazy project. Just 3 more days till the deadline for candidate nominations arrives. Signed, Kieran Shukavich. So how is it that electors could have signed nomination forms endorsing candidates before the candidates themselves knew that they were candidates?
Well, and that's the whole question that we're asking, and that is why we try to raise awareness on this and email Elections Canada to ask about this, because if a candidate has not registered as a candidate and therefore has not authorized somebody as their delegate, how can you have that authorized delegate that hasn't been authorized to actually collect the signatures in the first place?
Well, precisely. And then I have another text message.
Okay, so I can actually see the reactions. I saw Blaine Calkins. He was just laughing. He's like, this is stupid. So that's that. I wanted that answer to land, and I'm really glad that it did, because it's a tricky one to get out. But it's so important, right? It just illustrates the problem with this. You can't have someone. Okay, so look, just the basics of it. What the Elections Canada Act says is only the candidate or their authorized delegate can collect a signature for their nomination. That's it. People can go with the delegate and they can be the witness, but they can't be the ones to actually collect the signatures. So the problem is that the longest ballot goes out, get these signatures, and then comes to people that are prospective candidates and say, here, we have your signatures. Go fill out the paperwork. Oh, and by the way, don't forget to mark him as your delegate.
Right, but that's the evidence we found. But the testimony given by Thomas on Tuesday says that's incorrect, that they're just encouraging people to, go to the returning office and finish their paperwork?
Well, no, Thomas didn't actually disprove that. All he said was, we know the people that are interested. Well, sure, if you know the people that are interested, that doesn't mean they've authorized you as a delegate yet.
Right.
That's very different.
Yeah.
Like,
which is why your testimony was focused on that particular issue.
Right. So it calls into question all of that. And the smoking gun is we have an email from the longest ballot to the whistleblower saying, we have the signatures, go fill out your forms, and please make sure that you assign Thomas as your delegate. Which means the whistleblower's candidacy for Toronto St. Paul's was completely invalid. That's what that means. Like, there's no question on that. Case closed. So keep going.
Exchange between the whistleblower and Kieran Shukavich, dated August 16th, 2024, and during the LaSalle-Imard-Verdun by-election, in which the whistleblower writes how many people so far are going to break the record, as in going to break the record of candidates, to which Shukavich replies, it's 53 right now, probably 60 tomorrow. We collected signatures for 109, so it's possible we'll break 100, but it depends on who can get it all done in the next week. Fingers crossed. And then 2 days later, there was a video posted on the Longest Ballot Committee's YouTube channel of Thomas Shukavich, with the title below, the title of the video being Message from the Official Agent. Now, I've watched the video, and Thomas Shukavich states as follows: if we're going to break the record of the Longest Ballot Committee, we need everyone to sign up as soon as possible. We've already collected 100 nomination signatures for you. Now, just to be clear, that YouTube video has been removed by the Longest Ballot Committee, correct?
After our expose, they removed that, and a lot of the other longest ballot organizers disappeared from social media.
Okay, very interesting. How convenient. And then there is a text message from, again, Kieran Shukavich, dated March 31st, 2025, in the context of the Longest Ballot Committee recruiting candidates in the Carleton riding, in which he states to the whistleblower, I emailed you the nomination signatures and official agent form a few days ago. Now, you've talked to the whistleblower about his involvement in the Longest Ballot Committee. According to the whistleblower, he had not indicated any interest in running for the Longest Ballot Committee in Carleton, correct?
That's correct.
He was not involved in the Longest Ballot Committee at that point.
That's correct, and evidence even shows that there's repeated attempts by Kieran to engage him over the course of several days and even the course of a week, trying to get him to say that, yes, I'm going to run, and there was no response by the whistleblower.
And yet the Longest Ballot Committee here already had collected his signatures. How's that possible?
Well, and that's the whole point, and
Right.
It wasn't. And in fact, in Thomas Shukavich's testimony on Tuesday, he was even trying to say, well, we already know who's interested, and then that's how we know how to collect the signatures. But if they haven't registered as the candidate, and there's even another email that we have that specifically is from the Longest Ballot Committee to the whistleblower asking him to, don't forget to assign Thomas as your delegate as soon as possible, but in the same email they say they already have the signatures. So one cannot happen without the other if you're playing by the rules.
Okay, well, Mr. Chair, this evidence is very disturbing. It raises serious questions about whether the Longest Ballot Committee collected invalid signatures, which in turn raises the question, how many candidates connected with the Longest Ballot Committee have appeared on the ballot who should not have because they didn't have the requisite valid 100 signatures as required by the Canada Elections Act, and it raises further questions about whether the Longest Ballot Committee broke the law.
Very brief response. We're at.
I would just say it's, when you look at the scale of how many candidates that the Longest Ballot has actually engaged with since they started back in 2019, and you multiply this procedure, if they've been following it every single time for every single candidate, you have hundreds of violations of the Elections Canada Act, and potentially that compounds because it could be impersonation, it could be obstruction, and depending on how the Criminal Justice Code interprets it, it could be amounting to forgery as well.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Davies. You can elaborate with further questions.
Hundreds and hundreds of violations. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Well, if you have 200 people, 200 candidates on the ballot in Battle River Crowfoot that are from the Longest Ballot Committee, and if things were done improperly for each candidate, that's at least 200 violations.
And it doesn't even matter. Like, it just has to happen for one. Like, let's say 199 registered and authorized them as a delegate, but that's not likely because what the Longest Ballot, they advertise this, and this is what our whistleblower said. They said, all you have to do is give us your name, we'll take care of the rest. So, and you look at the communication from the longest ballot to the whistleblower in each of these by-elections that they've tried to get him to run, and it's always signatures first, paperwork second. Well, paperwork has to be done first to make you the authorized delegate in order to allow you to go and get the signatures. So you can't register as a candidate afterwards and then authorize this person as your delegate and then retroactively make it okay.
Now, did you want to speak about the photographic evidence that we had found?
So that came up.
We didn't bring it up in this committee, but it came up on Tuesday.
Yeah, so it came up on Tuesday, and so there was an allegation from Thomas that there was generative AI used in the images that we actually used.
I think what he said specifically, his exact words were AI doctored.
Yeah, so we did not use AI to quote-unquote doctor any images at all. If he wants to say we used it to erase anything, we did not. What was done with those initial images is it was upscaled. Now, what upscaling does is it can use AI. When you're talking generative AI uses the internet as its library of reference, and then it creates something new based on that in the image that you're dealing with. Photoshop uses this a lot, and any of these image generators that you may use on the internet or on your mobile apps, that's what they use. Upscaling AI is it's like a completely different country. It's a completely different language. So it's a different process. What upscaling AI does is the only reference that upscaling uses is the image itself. So it will look at pixels in the image itself, and then it will estimate what might or might not be there by the analysis of the colors and patterns of those pixels. And so when it upscales it, it increases the resolution of the whole image and then tries to guess what these pixels may end up looking like.
Yeah, so for example, if we were trying to upscale this, let's say we're upscaling in this area, the red area, it's going to look and go, okay, everything around here is at red, so if I add more pixels, they're going to be red.
Right.
If I'm upscaling this area, everything's silver, so I'm going to be adding more silver. So it doesn't just like go, oh, I'm going to add purple all of a sudden. It goes based on what's in the immediate area.
Now, is it 100% accurate? Absolutely not. It is not 100% accurate. But what makes it relevant is that Elections Canada has admitted via the testimony by the Chief Electoral Officer on October 2nd that they've received blank ballots from the longest ballot committee before. So he's on record in saying that. And then Thomas on the Tuesday, on the 7th, he had testified that they had given Elections Canada ballots, not blank, but it says all candidates up there. So it's the same effect. It's actually the same violation of the act, whether it's blank or whether you put all candidates in there. There's not a candidate name. So it's the same violation.
And the problem with this process is everything's done on paper, and then you scan the paper in and send it to Elections Canada. The problem is that there's no way for Elections Canada to know whether the name was on that form right from the get-go, or if they collected signatures first and added the name after the fact.
So we're not worrying about the image part anymore because the longest ballot has already admitted to filing forms without the candidate name at the top. So that's now open and shut. And that's why in the second committee we focused on delegation of authority, political party, and the other aspects that I mentioned in my testimony.
Sorry.
So for any other questions about that, hopefully that cleared all of that up. Okay. Get through a couple more of these. We have Ryan Herbert, welcome to NP supporter. Thank you very much. Kim Brown dropping 10 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you very, very much for that, Kim. And I already read those because I got to the Pazuzu one again. Anima, member for 15 months. That's where I was. God bless. Excellent show and committee. Thank you very, very much. Okanagan, home for $20. Thanks for being you with the pear looking at the mirror. Thank you very much. Narcissistic pear. Stickman SK for $10. Committee with Ryan and Michael Cooper. You can't ask for anything better. Great job today. Thank you. At least I didn't have Larry Brock yelling at me. Daniel T for $7. Self-taught in IT too. Thanks for sharing, Ryan, and awesome job in community. Thank you very much.
I think you two may have skipped this one. It's from Steve Asher. It says, thank you for your hard work. Very proud of you two.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Spark Spice for $10. I never not want to see your cats. I love them. I was a mama to a ginger too, so I especially love Pazuzu. You should call him Lotto. Gingers are sassy just like Pierre.
He is. He's very sassy and he talks a lot.
Osiris game for member for 10 months. From the puppets to committee, and having your work be used in the house is proof the hard work and sacrifice paid off, something we can all aspire to. Absolutely. And it was something watching Cooper look at evidence that we gave him. It was just so proud, right? So,
well, it's like we have this pride in our country, and we want it restored to its full beauty, the way that it was under the Harper era and before that. And just being able to say, we were entrusted with this whistleblower story, and then we were able to bring it to committee, and now hopefully we can help our country. I don't even have words for that. It's very special.
And Autistic Avenger for $5. Ryan, what's your advice for getting into IT? I mostly like setting up hardware and some software, but not too many jobs offer something that simple.
Help desk, yeah.
So it depends on the. Right now the job market sucks, right? But what you should be looking for is IT support technicians, service desk, help desk. That's what you should be looking for to get into basic support, if that's the route you want to take. And hopefully you can get in there just with some base level experience, because it's an entry level job. Those are the types of jobs you should be looking for.
And that's how you started.
I started with
on
nothing.
the service desk.
I started with a philosophy degree.
But you started on the service desk, right? It was like a part-time job in the summer. Yeah,
it was a contract job. It was a gopher job. Go set up. Go do this computer refresh. So basically, replace a bunch of these people's computers. And while I was there, I would do that really quickly, and then I would say, "Give me something else." So they and they were just going to use me for the amount of hours that they do. So, okay, let's get back.
Merci beaucoup. Ms. Normandin, 6 minutes. Thank you. I just want to make sure that you are hearing the interpretation. Since the beginning of the study, the main question we've been putting to ourselves is how to find a balance between the potential need to reform the Elections Act to prevent initiatives like that of the Long Ballot Committee happen again, or avoid doing that, because there would also be repercussions if legislation were more restrictive. So we need to find the right balance. So my question is to both of you. Do you believe that with all that we've discovered about the longest ballot committee and the violations of the Elections Act that they involved, is there any possibility that the movement dies out by itself because fewer people will be tempted to take part in a move like this if they knew they would be violating the Elections Act?
I mentioned forbearance earlier, and I'll tell you, I was thinking about this yesterday walking around. Like, I'm going to think about this as a democratic theorist. I'm going to think about this as a journalist. I'm going to think about this as a citizen of this country. I'm going to think about this as someone who actually supports electoral reform. What's the best outcome here? And the best outcome is they stop. They take the message. They exercise some forbearance, and they say, you know what, this isn't working. In fact, it's doing harm to our elections, but also to their stated goals. Let's try something else. Let's move on. And then perhaps the Parliament could look at small legislative changes to make it slightly less likely this happens in the future. But honest to God, I think the best answer is they stop. And I know they'll be seeing this, and I certainly hope they take that message to heart, because it's not doing us any good.
And what I would say is we've done a lot of monitoring of the long ballot social media, and they've been monitoring these committee meetings. They were monitoring the committee meetings last fall, and they have heard all these suggestions, and on their own social media, they're posting, don't worry, no matter what they do, we're going to continue. So they seem intent on this, and I think that's evidence back from the original court decision in Alberta of 2017, where the lead organizer, Kieran, tried to have all of the restrictions to register as a candidate to vote wiped away. And luckily, the Judge Inglis ended up only striking down the $1,000 bond.
Une autre question. Avec la loi électorale.
One further question. With the Elections Act as it is now, do you think there's a way, rather than amending it, to apply it more effectively to prevent this from happening again or continuing?
Signature checking. I mean, I did listen to the testimony previously and hear that some candidates, the returning officer rejected something. So there was a check and balance there at some point. But here's the thing. If there are problems with signatures, that needs to be caught before a candidate is on the ballot. If it's caught after the fact, then we're talking about consequences for that. But the damage to some extent to the public good is already done. So if people are sneaking onto the ballot that ought not to be there, that's the problem. And now we don't need to talk about checking these things a priori. Incidentally, if we can't control signatures now, if we're going to introduce further restrictions on signatures or requirements, we need to be sure we're ready to actually check them. We can't just say, well, we'll let Elections Canada figure it out later. And this comes at a time when the country is looking at reducing budgets. So there's also a budgetary concern as if we're going to spend money, are people going to be ready to spend this money to do it? So I would say, before we start looking at making things tougher, make sure you can actually enforce the regulations you have currently on the books.
And I would say, I agree, money is going to be the issue here. The issue with the Elections Canada Act as it is right now is I look at this from a process architecture perspective, where this is just a big process on how to run an election. However, I don't see any controls in place for this process. So you can say that a candidate or person who must be who is authorized to act on a candidate's behalf, that is a requirement. I don't see any way to enforce that. Where's the control for that? And there's many other examples in the Elections Canada Act where that's the case. And the Chief Electoral Officer even admitted that they don't have the resources to even implement any controls to check the act as is.
Merci.
We will go on to Mr. Culkin.
So, before I get into what was said, it was very difficult, and this is not the Bloc MP's fault. It was very difficult having her sit about 10 feet away from me and having the earpiece in one ear hearing English and my other ear hearing her French and trying to block out the French coming into my brain. That was very, very difficult.
Well, it's especially difficult, I would imagine, if you have some familiarity with the language, because you're probably picking up words that you do know in French, but you're trying to listen to the English translation so that you get the full question.
Right.
Yeah.
It was actually quite difficult, and it gives you a real appreciation for interpreters. And I asked the clerk, I said, do you know the names of the interpreters? And she said, I don't know if I know all of them. Why? I said, because we cover committee a lot and we hear the interpreters all the time and we kind of have favorite voices. And she said, oh, that is so neat. That is so neat. So it was kind of...
You didn't tell me that.
Yeah. Well, now I'm telling you that.
So do you know the gentleman's name?
No.
Oh, bummer.
So anyway, it was just it's a neat little anecdote there. But yeah, this was interesting. So basically David and I kind of agreed. We just said it in different ways. And when it came to, are they going to stop? Are they not? It was interesting. I think David said that they should stop, and what I had said,
they probably will stop, is kind of what he was saying. Yeah.
I think that was the implication,
Yeah.
and then I came in following that right after and said, no, they're not. I've read their posts. They're following this, and they're saying they're not going to stop. So, and so that was interesting. And I'd seen, I think one of the other channels had said that the Block didn't ask me questions, so they did.
Yeah, she asked, I think if I recall correctly, it was 3 questions, and it was to both of you.
Yep. So.
I did find it very interesting watching from home when you were starting to talk about process and stuff like that, because I mean, that's your background. That's what you did in IT, was a lot of process stuff, but also that's what we do here on the channel. You know, how does Parliament work? Why are they doing what they're doing? But in terms of the process thing, if there's no controls, you had said, what are you going to do? It's kind of like if there's a law, okay, you can't speed, but we have no way of telling whether or not you're speeding.
Well, not even just that. We have no way to prevent you from speeding. And if you do, what then?
Well, and if you
Right?
do, we can't tell that you're speeding.
So this is the challenge, right? So
And the poll for the cats, it was only 8% no, so they're going to be staying.
oh, there you go. YouTube is having a seizure. Okay, there we go. Okay. Warren the Predator for $7. Thank you very much. I have been waiting for this all week. Who needs Netflix? Right? And Anubis Hayes for $5. Like someone said, other streams were covering you today. There's even videos with Ryan from NP at committee. So you're both doing something right. Excellent.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, we try not to be the news, but sometimes you just got to roll up your sleeves and get involved, right?
Get in there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we can't just sit here and complain about how everything's awful and how the Liberals are doing a bad job and this and that. You got to get involved and you got to make it better.
Yeah. Noah Martinchich for $5. You're the only one that said my last name right. Yay! I normally have to tell them how to say it. That's amazing. Thank you. And HD Dave for $2. Thomas be like, let's take a look. CJR902 for $2. 300,000 subscriber goal. Tanya gets another cat.
I'm waiting for the cat distribution network to just deliver
You know what?
me one.
You know what? Fine. 300,000 because that's 3 cats and 300,000.
Okay, but I'm just waiting to be like driving down one of the country roads around here, and there's like a litter of kittens in the ditch, and I'm like, oh, I can keep one of them, and the rest I'll find good homes for.
Yep. And Noah Martinchich dropping 5 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you very, very much for that. And Thomas Shukavage, member for 3 months. Well played, Professor Davies. You've ruined this hobo. Now I must cut my hair and change my name to perhaps Randy.
Randy! Have you been hanging out with Randy?
I love it. Still kept the
The cat thing.
yeah.
Nice.
Maybe I should change that. I don't know.
That's fine.
Anyway, whatever. And Peter G. Jurczak for $5. I noticed during the committee when they ask you questions, Mr. Cooper always seems to have a hint of a smirk.
Well, you did give evidence to Mr. Cooper, right? So he kind of knew what you had.
He had an idea of what to ask, I guess. So.
Yeah, so I imagine that he knew what was coming.
Or he was just like, I'm opening the floodgates. I can't wait to see what comes out. I don't know. Jim Smith, a.k.a. Cod Snapper, looks like he figured out how to join membership. Thank you very much, Jim. Excellent.
And I think YouTube skipped this one. It is from Austin Gauthier. It says, since we live in a democracy, I feel it's only right we have a poll on this cat issue, since I feel this is a matter of public importance and there should be a vote on the matter of additional cats.
There you go. There you go.
You guys can just vote for me and say that I want another one.
There we go.
For 5 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Mr. Davies, in your opening testimony, you appeared to be, well, you were very clear in what you surmised to be happening here based on the information that you have. Could you elaborate a little bit more on why you think the Longest Ballot Committee is actually operating as a political party rather than as a protest group?
Well, you just have to look at your own political parties, and it doesn't matter which one you're a part of, Liberal, Bloc, NDP, Green, PPC, what have you. If someone wants to know more about your party, where do they go? They go to your centralized party website where you have all of your media. And the Longest Ballot, they were centralized on X. and now they're centralized on Blue Sky. Most of their media isn't there. They have random social media posts they put up there, but all of their formalized statements, political statements, and formal responses to even committee meetings, statements by the chief electoral officer, they're all posted on the Marxist-Leninist Party website. So there's that. So they formalize all of that into one specific website. But where it really comes into play is they operate as if they're a political apparatus. They're talking to their candidates as if they're running across the country, but they're not. They're running in one riding. They give them all one direction. They're running under a single platform. They are...
Just to be clear, a political entity is only allowed to have one candidate on the ballot in each constituency. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you believe that because they're either committing an offense by running more than one candidate, or they're failing to register as a party. Is that correct?
Correct. The main crux of it is a registered party is only allowed to run one candidate per riding. So they get around this by not being "quote unquote" registered. But
do you think a legitimate candidate gets 0, 1, or 2 votes in an election?
I think a legitimate candidate would be embarrassed to get that amount.
Interestingly,
I'm just sitting here smiling at Cooper smirking.
I also saw Calkins' eyes at the end. He was like, "This is
You
crazy."
know what? I was sitting at home and I was like, yes, that is an excellent answer.
Which one? The political party one?
No, the one that when Calkins asked if they get 0, 1, or 2 votes, and you said a legitimate candidate would be embarrassed to get that few votes.
Well, it's true.
It is true, and that's why it was great.
So, and it was just funny seeing his eyes go like really wide at the end, and yeah, Cooper sitting there like, I like how this is going. So, I was getting more and more fired up at the end. So
yeah, you were. I noticed that too.
I've been personally quite frustrated since 2017 with the decision by a court in Alberta, which ironically, the witness that was here on behalf of the Longest Ballot Committee is suggesting that people outside of Parliament should be making rules. So here we've had a rule made by a judge in Alberta in 2017, somebody who's not a politician and has never likely run for it, appears to have no political experience whatsoever, has now made a decision to remove the $1,000 bond. I've often thought it was a mistake by the government at the time to not appeal that decision. Can you tell me more? The individual, the case was Kieran Shishkevich versus Canada in that particular case. Is there any relation between that Mr. Shishkevich and the one that testified here 2 days ago?
Sure, he's the brother of Thomas Shishkevich, and the biggest thing that jumped out at me in this decision is actually paragraph 23, where it says the applicant submits that while the deposit requirement is allegedly an attempt to deter frivolous candidates, it may well deter non-frivolous candidates who are not affluent. So,
does the Longest Ballot Committee, in your opinion, have anything but frivolous candidates?
No.
Do you think that, so obviously, from my perspective, this appears to be a well-orchestrated campaign that started well before and they knew that they would have to get that $1,000 bond removed, and actually were prepared to go to court. What does that suggest to you about political motivations and the actions of an actual political party?
I burst out laughing after you were like, no, and then Cooper just smiled.
well, because I said it was like the stupidest thing I've ever heard, because it is, right? And
not the question, but the fact that that's what the Longest Ballot Committee is doing.
And it's funny because Tanya was telling me over the phone, she was saying I loved seeing Cooper's reaction, and I again, I'm not paying attention to Cooper, and I'm seeing him now, and he's just like doing his little adjustment and smiling, and it's funny.
That was good.
It is funny.
Well, given the fact that they're trying to get all of the requirements removed, this seems to be a well-thought-out, orchestrated attempt to engage in this behavior in the first place. Because after he won this court challenge, did he run in the election? Not as a legitimate candidate. All of a sudden, he teams up with the Rhinoceros Party, and they start running these long ballots. And the biggest thing about this court challenge is this was him saying, this is violating his Charter 3 rights, but now they're going on to violate the Charter 3 rights of people with disabilities and seniors across this country. And for people to say that this is a small issue, it is not. This is an issue that our forefathers fought for. and we need to take that seriously.
Couldn't agree with you more. With all of the information that you have from the whistleblower, plus everything that we know in the public domain, is there anything that leads you to believe that the longest ballot committee is actually just a protest, or are they operating with clear and decisive intent?
I think the fact that they couldn't even answer the chair's question about, okay, fine, let's accept that this is a protest. What's your solution? And they don't even have a thought out solution. And then they've been doing this for 6 years. They haven't thought about that at all. This shows that they're not serious about an actual resolution, and this is just malicious intent.
Do you think
Thank you so much,
thank you,
Mr. Calkins. I did cut you off with 3 seconds left. I do
All right.
apologize. I'll give you 3 seconds more the next time.
Thanks, Chair.
Yeah, the back and forth with you and Mr. Calkins was really good.
Well, I've seen a couple of people say that they've watched the section a few times because I think this was probably one of the more important sections in the testimony, because this kind of ties everything together, and Calkins seemed to be trying to say, okay, so what's the big picture here? And that's what people need to see is what that big picture here. We can argue on the individual violations and these things, but the real question is, what are they trying to do? And that was my opinion, right? So, and the great thing about speaking in committee is I can say whatever I want and be protected by parliamentary privilege and can't be held liable for it. I have to be careful outside of committee, but I can just say, well, look what I said in committee. That's about all I can say. So, yeah, that was an interesting line of questioning. But the one thing that really ticked me off was listening to the previous witnesses in the previous committee meeting is, and even I think David Moskrup kind of alluded to it. I kept hearing, well, this isn't a big issue. This is a small issue. And it really ticked me off because and that's why I said this is not a small issue. It's not a small issue for the person with Parkinson's trying to deal with this frickin' ballot, trying to fold it all up.
Yeah, like again. This is the Toronto St. Paul's ballot. Like, look at the size of this. I can't even handle it.
So if you have Parkinson's, if you have arthritis, if you have something else that is really making it hard to deal with that ballot and fold it up, that's going to be a big challenge. That's not a small issue for you. And our Charter 3 rights to participate in a democracy should be the most serious issue. Because if we lose that, we are no longer in a democracy, are we? It's the gateway. That and freedom of speech. Those are the 2 gateways to totalitarianism if you lose one of them. So I want to make sure that was on the record, and I'm glad I found a way to work it in. So I know Mr. Calkins wanted to ask
something else.
Yeah. And I apologize to him if it was important, but I wanted to make sure I got that in. So
at least they didn't have to call you to order.
Wonder what would have happened if Iker Curley was in that committee meeting. Point of order, Chair. These people were mean to me online. Peter Whitten for $5. Thank you very much. Thomas should be charged with mischief and be forced to go through the same process that Tamara and Chris had to endure, albeit at bare minimum. I was kind of thinking that. I'm like, how is this not mischief?
Yeah, this is totally mischief. Thank you to Jesse Bernard for joining NP Supporter.
Wasn't sure if I hit that one, so I guess I didn't. Needed Farmhouse Gaming for $14. I've been watching for a long time, and me and you guys riding in New Saskatchewan to be a farmer. Keep up the good work, guys. Hopefully someday I'll get my farm going. Wish me luck. Good luck.
Best of luck. And
Midnight Storms for 13 months. I noticed David spoke a few times about influencers and promoted MSM. How is it no one sees how biased and extremely liberal-leaning MSM is? Well, that's the question.
I think you kept that clip in, didn't you?
I'm pretty sure I kept a clip in regarding that. Hopefully I didn't take it out. If I took it out, then I suck. But I'll talk about it anyway. Robert says for $5 regarding Made. Well, the opt-out versus opt-in in BC, and but I'm still using it, or so saith the Monty Python, right? Ski Lifestyle for $5. Loved watching you in Today Committee. Keep up the great work. It was very strange hearing them say my last name. Like, it was very strange. And it's very strange hearing it still when they're talking to me. It's just...
Yeah, because you're thinking Don Davies, right? Or even Fred Davies.
Somebody else.
I say there's a couple Davies inside the house, so you're thinking one of them, not yourself.
I'm used to saying Mr. or Ms. somebody else, not me. So that's about as best as I can describe it. Sean Broom, member for 10 months. Thank you very much. I seen Gary, the safety minister, and one of the committees today. It was not a good look for Gary. Absolute train wreck. Where's my surprise face?
Maybe we'll have to pull some clips from that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Let's see if we have time.
Rabbit Says for $5. I know you said no questions. Can committee request YouTube pull the deleted video from backups? Which, if it can, disturbing, but if it can. So it's not deleted from what I saw. It's just set to private.
Yeah.
So
but we
there.
do have
We have it.
downloaded version of it, which it takes things off of YouTube and downloads them straight to your computer. So there's
That's
no
why
changes.
Mr. Cooper was able to watch it.
Yeah. And we also, if I'm not mistaken, and if I recall correctly, we put it in our video, one of our videos about the longest ballot committee, that we showed their video. And I think that's how we learned that it had been removed from YouTube, is that I went into the sources to try to watch the direct link, and it was gone.
It was gone.
Yeah.
So let's keep going.
Ajouter ou peut-être parler de
Could we talk about the balance that needs to be struck between between the risk of limiting non-frivolous candidates and the negative impact of constraints? It might be acceptable in some cases to democracy to have some frivolous candidates.
I think the issue here is how do we uphold everyone's Charter 3 rights? How do we protect the people that are most disadvantaged in terms of allowing them their democratic right to vote? That's one of the main concerns here. But we, to the point, we don't go too far in the other direction in overreacting. But I think we need to enforce the act. That seems to be one of the biggest problems we have in this country overall, is enforcing the laws that we do have. And where having an honest review of the Elections Act, there is a determination that there are missing controls in order to do that, we need to come up with new controls and punishment for people who try to weaponize democracy against itself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davies and Madame Normandin. We will move on to Mr. Jackson for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, gentlemen, for being here today. Just like to start with Mr. Davies, a couple of questions. You mentioned earlier in your testimony that you or your organization filed a complaint with Elections Canada regarding the longest ballot committee's actions. Can you just make it very clear on the record who specifically you submitted that claim or that complaint to?
So we initially contacted Elections Canada by phone to ask them how to report this, and then they provided, I believe it was the email address info@electionscanada.ca. That's the mailbox we were advised to send it to.
And to date, you have received no response to that. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Would you be willing to table all the evidence and correspondence you have between yourself and your organization and the whistleblower, so that we have that evidence, which I assume was part of the complaint that you filed to Elections Canada?
Certainly, and yes, it was.
Okay. Thank you very much. Just now to Mr. or Dr. Moskrip, I want to thank you for your testimony today.
Before we get to the next question, Calkin's reactions to this is just, he's dumbfounded, and he's dumbfounded that this was reported to Elections Canada and nothing happened.
Well, and quite frankly, so were we.
Yeah, we were just waiting, and we thought, oh, they'll get to it. They'll get to it. They're not getting to it.
Well, and we spoke to our MP, right?
And afterwards, Calkins had asked me a bit more about it, and I said, and and I'm glad our viewers had actually emailed us, because some of the viewers had said that they had reported a complaint to Elections Canada regarding the Battle River Crowfoot by-election, and they got a response. And I told them that, and I said, well, our viewers got a response. We never did. They said, well, what response did the viewers get? And I said, I don't know. It wasn't serious, though. So
it was just like brushing people off, which,
yeah.
I mean, this is serious stuff. This is somebody monkeying with our democracy.
So anyway, let's continue. The video part is almost done, I believe, though.
I was going back and forth a little bit with Dr. Turnbull on Tuesday because, and I'll read, I know you watched it, but just what I said was, just to summarize, that I agree, and I agree again with what you've said, that we've probably given this farce too much airtime that only they have gotten excited about. That being said, I do think we have to come to an outcome here. I don't think this can go on. And so, to summarize her position, I asked her that she did not support the restriction of signatures to only being able to sign one candidate's paper, but that she would support a change such as one official agent can only be the agent for one candidate. She said absolutely on the official agent piece, and she said that she wished we didn't have to do the piece about the candidate signatures, but unfortunately that's where we are. And so she actually ended up agreeing with both those solutions. What is your perspective on that? Would you find yourself in a similar place?
Oh, absolutely. Here's the thing. If there are reasonable and unreasonable barriers to running. I think financial barriers can be unreasonable. I think old shoe leather barriers, as in go get signatures, go knock doors, go prove that you're serious, are utterly reasonable. Again, I was stunned that you could have one individual act as an official agent for more than one person. It is on the face absurd, and incidentally, a conflict of interest. Right? I mean, one of the premises of the longest ballot is that politicians are in a conflict of interest. Okay, well, apply the same standard to what you're doing. Using one agent for 100 people or 191 people, also a conflict of interest. It's inconsistent. So on the one hand, so yes. On signatures, yeah, I think if you have to get a handful, 100 whatever signatures it might be, fine. Unique, I did notice the witnesses brought up the point of, look, if you're an elector, you might want to sign 2 or 3 people's forms. Maybe you haven't decided who you're going to vote for yet. I've gone back and forth in a couple elections. People change their mind. But 191? That's obviously against the spirit of the law. So I think it would be reasonable to have a limit of that of some sort. Because here's the thing: if you can't get 100 unique signatures, are you a serious candidate? I mean, I could get 100 unique signatures when I ran for student council president.
Right.
2-termer, by the way. But in a high school of 1,200 people, you can get 100 unique signatures.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. I appreciate the clarity on that, because I do think this committee will need to take the expert advice as to an outcome when we get to the conclusion of this study to ensure, a balanced approach, but certainly a swift one in ensuring that future by-elections, this is in place so that this farce doesn't continue any longer. So I certainly appreciate that. I wonder your perspective on the number of signatures overall that are required. The number is 100 right now. We know in previous Parliament, the government, the Liberal government, actually brought forward a bill to reduce that number of required signatures. I believe it was down to 75. Just wondering if you have a perspective on that, whether you think that's appropriate or wrong-headed given this longest ballot committee and just the general context overall.
I mean, I think it's the difference between, to use a contemporary reference, winning a ball game 6-1 and 7-1. I mean, whether it's 100 signatures or 75 signatures, I don't think there's a material difference there. Because if you can get 75, you can probably get 100. Now, can you get 1,000? That's unreasonable. It's really a matter of scale. So I don't think there's any real pressing. I don't think it's worth the paper you'd have to print it on to reduce it to 75. Really?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's just I think it's a show. It's more of a gesture than it would be a substantive change. Ditto raising it to 125. The 100 is entirely reasonable. But I don't see why you would lower it, unless you're going to lower it to 0, and then you're having a philosophical debate, not a regulatory debate.
Right. do you have any further perspective on Mr. Davies' commentary about the longest ballot committee, rather than a protest movement, operating as either a political party or a third party, which has been suggested as well in previous conversations, that this is a centrally organized group of a very small number of individuals who are giving central direction to sometimes not even full candidates yet, we've heard in testimony, people who are prospective candidates, and whether they should be governed in some way by either the rules that govern third parties in our elections or the rules that govern political parties in our elections?
Very brief answer, Dr.
I hadn't thought about it until Mr. Davies brought it up, but I found his argument cogent. And again, I'll go back to this. We have effectively an exploitation of loopholes in the law right now that are in violation of the spirit of the law. And I think Mr. Davies made quite a cogent argument.
I'd like
A cogent argument.
You can change the mind of a liberal. That was one of the things that that I took away from today the most, actually, is that the witness that the Liberals called, and he wasn't brought in to be against me by any means.
No, you were both just brought in to provide purview on the longest ballot issue.
Right.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was willing to listen and actually listen to my answers as I was listening to his answers, and say that, I never even occurred to me, that's a cogent argument. Cogent meaning logical and valid.
Thank you. I had to look it up today.
For those that don't know,
Me.
that's what that means. And again, liberal PhD sitting right next to me saying, dumb YouTuber, and I know I'm not a dumb YouTuber, but that's the perception, right? By the liberals. And he gave me a lot of credibility by saying that to the liberals that were sitting there. So I applaud David for that, and for having an open mind and really listening. And I think we need to be able to do this more often. We need to be able to find that common ground more often, because this is how we move forward. And this is why it was so important for me to, because if I came in here very partisan and riled up and trying to antagonize the liberals, that wouldn't have happened.
Right. And you need both sides to bring, their view to the middle, and then you can create something good out of it. Because just for example, if David didn't have your input, then, maybe the conclusion of the committee wouldn't be as whole. Like if it was just his opinion, he hadn't previously thought about what you had said. So because, you're coming from a different vantage point, and that you're able to add that in, now it creates something better for committee as a whole.
100%.
To pick both of your brains a little bit at this point. Previous witnesses, and I don't know if you saw it or were able to take it in, discussed the possibility or their conclusion that the longest ballot committee is actually operating as a registered political party without being required to register as one. There's a central organization of a very few people giving out centralized direction to candidates, or sometimes even prospective candidates who haven't agreed to fully participate in the stunt yet, as well as unified collection of signatures, etc. So the other, Dr. Moskrop, said he hadn't thought about that before, but that he felt the argument was compelling, or maybe that wasn't quite the cogent argument. Thank you, Mr. Cooper. What would your perspective on that proposal be? Maybe Dr. Pamet first, and then Dr. Garnett.
Just to clarify this, because I just realized that
you just
shooting right into that cut, there's no context here. So this is now, I'm no longer there.
You're already on the way home.
Yeah, I'm driving home at this point. And this is the next round of witnesses. So I kept this in because this this was very revealing to me, in that I wasn't just some prop, and my testimony actually really resonated in committee, because here's the Conservatives now asking the next round of witnesses a question about one of the main arguments that we brought up in our investigation, which is the longest ballot is acting like a political party. So this was really fascinating to me to see it after the fact. And I don't really even hear the answer. I haven't heard all the answers here. I just heard the question was asked, and so I just included this. So it was just fascinating to me to hear that. It's neat to hear your testimony then used in a completely different line of questioning with completely different witnesses. So that was pretty special to actually hear them take my argument and continue the study with it.
Well, and again, to know that as a citizen, you're making a difference.
Sarah King says, yes, Cogent Cowboy merch too.
Well, I'm afraid I'm going to have to say that I haven't thought of it very much either. But could I ask you, behind your question, are there implications that you're getting at if it were to be considered to be a political party?
Well, I think specifically in the Act, it requires that registered political parties are only allowed to run one candidate at a time in a constituency. And these folks are operating...
So they'd be operating illegally?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm afraid I still am not going to venture an opinion on that.
Fair enough. Dr. Garnett?
Thank you. So I have been watching the activities of this committee, and so I have had a little bit more time than everyone else to have a think on that one. And again, I'm going to caveat with saying that, I'm not a legal scholar, and so I'm just presenting some initial thoughts. I would say that the Longest Ballot Committee appears to be acting more as a third-party advocacy organization, advocating for specific policies and proposals, and using the ballot as a way to do that. They don't appear to be working as a party insofar as actually running candidates for election. Even the fact that they're running multiple candidates, it doesn't seem like getting elected is or contributing really to the conversation in an election campaign is really the goal. That being said, I think I would leave to the legal scholars whether they meet either of those two thresholds and thus should be treated as such.
Okay, interesting. I just would question the third party piece a little bit, because while I understand they are advocating a certain cause, the organizer that testified was quite honest that he had no prescribed outcome that he is actually advocating for in terms of a solution. They say they want electoral reform, but when they were questioned by our chair as to what that might look like, he had no answer, and in fact stated that he hoped that we would solve that problem for him if we ever got to that point. So I don't know how you can be a third party advocating for something that you don't actually know what you're advocating for specifically. Any comment on that?
Fair enough. Yeah, I have read some of their materials. They seem to be advocating for citizens' assemblies to work towards electoral reform. But like you, I was a bit perplexed watching the exchange that happened on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Do you want to turn off the cat cam?
Very, very interesting. Fascinating. And who knows? May put them in hot water, because they're not acting like a third-party advocacy. They're acting like a political party. And I think the more people think about it, the more they're like, yeah, they are.
Well, because if you act like a third party, like third parties can advertise during the election, for example, but they have to register with Elections Ontario and they can only spend a certain amount. They have to report their income. They have to report what they're spending, et cetera, et cetera.
And third parties don't run candidates in an election.
That's exactly the difference.
So third parties, by definition, don't run candidates in an election, because if they did, that would make them a political party.
Right.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. So anyway, that was most of that was a bunch of committee today.
So I know one of the clips you left out that I wanted to talk about was where the Liberals pretty much ignored you the whole time, and they were asking Dr. Moskroff about like things that they probably should have been asking you, the IT professional, about. So social media, misinformation and disinformation, these sorts of things.
Yeah, so they were asking about AI, like AI's role in elections and potentially election interference, and these aren't dumb questions that the Liberals are asking. They're actually asking good questions, but it was kind of bizarre that you have a 20-year
IT veteran
right
in front of you,
and you're not asking that expert on that.
Well, and I recall being very upset during one of the questions when they were talking about influencers and that sort of thing. And I'm like, did they craft this specifically to try to discredit you?
Who knows? But what really got me was it was the Liberal MP Kayobaga who was talking about funding influencers and how that's a problem, and was trying to get Dr. Moskrov's impact on that. And in my head, I'm thinking, please let me answer this, because I would immediately throw back at you. Funding influencers, you're the only party that there's been evidence of that has been funding influencers. The Liberal Party. So what the heck are you talking about, lady? It was just
crazy. Infuriating. Again, why they weren't asking for your opinion on any of this stuff, because you are an expert in that field, and just the fact that they were kind of trying to imply that all influencers are bad or don't know what they're talking about. Like, we have spent the last 3 years with Northern Perspective making sure that we are accurate. Do we get things wrong sometimes? Yeah, absolutely. And we remove and correct when necessary. But we put all of our sources in the description so that Canadians can go and look for themselves. I mean, I'm pretty sure we're the only YouTubers with a green book. You know what I mean? So we strive to make sure that everything that we put out is accurate. And it was just infuriating to listen to that line of questioning.
So, interesting. I'm going to read this just because I think this is ridiculous. So, someone says, members only. No, it's by choice from the channels. I've been deleting every channel who posts members only because they don't need the rest of us after they get going. So I just unsubbed. Going to another channel soon. So, I advise people, because other people have made this assumption before. I advise you to understand what our members only content is before you make an assumption that we're holding back critical content behind a paywall. You will actually find we're one of the few channels, because there are others, but we're one of the few channels that don't hide any critical content behind a paywall.
We don't even take down our live streams and hide those behind a paywall once they're over. Some channels do that too. Stuff that we're putting behind a paywall is like outtakes.
Studio tours.
Yeah, studio tours, us driving to Ottawa, stuff like that.
So anyway, but if that's the way you feel, good luck in your YouTube adventure. So anyway, for everybody else, I just want to say it's been crazy, but the amount of positive comments that I've seen, I was really wanting to represent NP Nation well, and based on everything that I've seen, everyone seems to agree that I did. So I just want to thank everybody for their amazing comments. It's been amazing to read them, and it's been awesome to have all of you along for the ride. Again, I was walking up to Center Block or West Block on the way to committee, and I was just thinking back to the puppets, back to the horrendous beginning,
voice modulators,
yeah, that we had, and I was just thinking, I never would have thought, never in a million years would have thought I would be walking up to West Block to testify in a parliamentary committee based on the work that we've done on the channel. Never, ever, ever would have thought that. And I was just I tried to just take in that moment as a really important moment in the channel. So, and it's thanks to all of you. It's really thanks to all of you, because
you guys believed in us.
And without you watching, without you sharing, without you supporting the channel, we can't do what we do. So, congratulations to all of you as well, because this is a day to celebrate for all of us. So, it's a day for NP Nation. Anyway, let's get through the administrative portions on this. Okay. We have
Cardi. Start with Cardi.
Cardi with 5 gifted Northern Perspective memberships, and I want to make sure I get this one so it doesn't disappear. Tim Tracy dropping 50 Northern Perspective memberships.
Thank you very
so much, Tracy.
I hope you guys said thank you if you got one of those memberships.
Trish Pruill, member for 22 months. Would having a column on the signature page that people sign help stop the abuse? Elections Canada could easily check the date in the candidate register. So there is a row there where the candidate actually provides their signature. It's a signature. Candidate. Candidate registration date. I don't know. There's a lot of different little controls and things that you could do, but I think the simpler you make this, the easier it's going to be able to audit and deal with.
The only thing that I can think of is maybe if you have you have to go get your papers from the returning office instead of just printing them at home. If you have to go to the returning office and they have some sort of sticker or security seal, like one of those hologram stickers or something like that they put on the pages, and then it has to have a candidate name in it.
One suggestion that a Liberal, James Maloney, and evidently he was asking too good a question, so they removed him from the committee. One of the suggestions he had is that the candidate would actually have to go in person to the returning office to do their declaration, because you have to swear in front of a notary that you are who you say you are and everything like that. So all these people that are candidates across the country that will never visit the riding, that would drastically reduce the number of people that would be able to do that, because now they're going to have to spend money to actually travel to the riding.
Right.
And the reason why the vast majority of these people would sign up is because the longest ballot is saying, well, we're going to do everything for you. So they're like, great, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to spend any money. Sure. Done. So, but if they have to do that, now it's a different ballgame. So there's things like that can be implemented. Elliot for $5. Holy crap, Chris Biddle looks like Agent Smith from The Matrix. I don't know about that. Well, maybe if you put sunglasses on him, I guess.
And thank you to Gordon Muir gifting 20 Northern Perspective memberships. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Gordon. And Jessica Van Luke for $70. Thank you so much, Jessica. Nearly lost my mom to MAID in 2022. The sigh we had said it's the best thing. She didn't say it, but I could tell that's what she wanted us to choose. We got another sigh, and she got my mom on the right meds, and now she's better. MAID needs to go. Well, that's amazing that your mom is in a much better place mentally. And yeah, as I said before, MAID should be request only. They should never offer it. That's the state should never be doing that. Megaman0 for $5. Quote, they look at pixels and determine what's in there or not, end quote. That's the Schrodinger pixel cat. There you go.
She's around here somewhere.
Rose Says for $5. The mass or upscaling is vaguely similar to JPEG cross-sampling, but in real time for video, much more difficult. Yeah.
And by the way, we did provide, or you provided Cooper with both the upscaled and the regular photo. So.
And also a video showing the
difference.
upscaling in action. So. Wiffers SS for $20. Should have kept the suit for the live stream, but seriously, congrats on your committee appearance, because it's a significant milestone from where you both started. 100% is.
I think after driving home in the suit, you just were ready to be out of it.
I'm actually okay now, but I was really tired just from being in the car all day. Myron ends for $5. I lost my job last week because of the economic climate. All the best people that got laid off were older white men. Go figure.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah. Daryl Van Morsel for $7. EC needs to have online form. Name, info, agent, one per applicant, and it makes a unique number on each page. Then go get the 100 signatures, then give to EC. Yeah, like they can... There's process ways that they can solve this. You don't... The best processes have multiple controls. So I agree with the 100 unique signatures. I agree with the one agent. But ideas like this, you can layer them in, and these ones, you don't even need to change the act. So... Kate Pacey, member for 4 months. I love the cats being on also. Thank you very much.
You.
Alan W. for $2. Cats need to wear Northern Perspective merch.
I don't know if we could ever get anything on Pixel. She used to be feral, so she's like just starting to get used to being a house cat. I don't think she would tolerate clothes.
Northern cat spective.
Pazuzu might.
All right, Shaka when the walls fell. Yes. I need a positive one other than this one.
You guys are going to love this one.
I need a positive one.
We have to comb through your testimony later and see if there's anything that you said that we could use.
That's on NP Nation. If NP Nation can find a meme in what I said, then we'll look at it. We'll vote on it. Anyway, Shaka when the walls fell. For those non-Star Trek nerds, that basically means failure. Or critical fail. Member for 17 months. Been following you since Avatars. Now you're testifying on the Hill. So proud for you both. Much love from Vancouver. Temba, his arms wide.
You're such a nerd.
Some random Albertan. Hey, there's going to be a bunch of people in here that understand what I just said.
I understand it, but I'm not as nerdy as you.
Some random Albertan for $2. Glad to see my MP in committee. Good work, Blaine. There you go. Kim Brown for $10. Full respect for you both, the mods and all MP Nation. Big round of applause to everybody. Appreciate how much I've learned. Thanks to you all. Yay, the cats won. Amazing.
Awesome. I'm glad you guys like the cats. Like I said, we weren't getting like a lot of complaints, but there was one day where like after the live stream, I got like 3 of them in the inbox. So I was like, oh, maybe we need to reconsider.
So.
But they love being up here. Otherwise, like we can shut the door, but then you'll just hear them yowling.
Someone said no is the mean. No?
Maybe. Replace Arias.
Yeah, we'll see. Myron ends for $5. Ryan, you had your ducks in a row and really nailed it. Thank you. It was a lot of work that went into that. Leap Busby for $2. Ryan equals most prepared person in the room. Good job. Thank you.
I don't know. I think the Conservative MPs did a good job too. But
they always do a good job.
Yeah.
Brian Campbell, welcome back to MP Supporter. Thank you. Marion Drinkwalter for $5. So glad you went to committee. My mom is one of people that has visual impairment, and being a strong senior, she hated asking for help while voting. Excellent. Thank you. Glad I could be an advocate.
And thank you to Stealthy Raptor with a $50 super chat. It says, I knew from the first day I started following MP that you'd go on to do amazing things. As a small business owner, I'm proud of your achievements. Thanks for giving us the knowledge to properly talk to our MPs. I'm sure mine hates me now thanks to you.
We look forward to making him hate you even more. Boots 41, member for 20 months. Congratulations, Cypher and Fox. You both have come a long way. Thank you for providing such quality content and getting me interested in politics. So love to hear. Thank you.
Awesome.
Damian McNeil for $10. Great job today, Ryan. Thank you for representing all of us. Thank you to Tanya for holding down the fort while you were gone. Get another cat.
Yes.
Nope.
Love the note meme. That's fun. It's been a while since Chandra visited. That's
awesome.
Funny. Peter Whitten for $5. This meeting will go down in history. It should be used as a reference as to show a Westminster liberal democracy should be appreciated with integrity. Thank you very much, Peter.
Absolutely.
And Jim Ross for $10. The amazing thing is that you got a liberal to admit that he didn't think. That's been obvious to non-liberals for a long time. Liberal Party candidates have proven that believes Trump's reality. Yeah.
But, I think it takes somebody strong to admit that, I didn't think about that. Or maybe I had that wrong. it means they're open to learning and open to viewpoints that might differ from their own. And honestly, that's the kind of person I want to be, where I'm not like just so stuck in my own beliefs that I'm not open to external influence or information.
Well, and this is the thing. In order to really convince somebody to accept your partisan view, you have to approach it in a non-partisan way. So, GB, member for 8 months. Do you guys have a donation link? I'm a regular monthly member, can't afford premium membership, but want to donate a small lump sum. Keep it up.
Thank you.
So yeah, you can. Best thing I can suggest is just go to northernperspective.ca, scroll all the way at the bottom, and then there's a PayPal donation if you wanted to use that.
And I think there's a Buy Me a Coffee link on there as well.
Yep. Norm Kelly for $5. Been following politics for 60 years. Your appearance in committee was the very best. Thank you. That's
high praise.
High praise for 60 years. Warren the Predator for $14. Very well played, Ryan. Nice, clear, and concise answers. Are you sure you don't want to run for office? Wait, never mind. Then we don't get NP anymore.
That's right. So
at some point, I'm going to. It's just
when. Maybe when Vincent's a little bit older, he's doing better. He was a lot better the last 3 days than he was last time that you left to Ottawa on your own. But it's still exhausting.
Yeah.
He has too much energy.
And Lazarus for $5. Liberals ignored you because you wouldn't have painted the narrative they wanted. You answering them correctly would have made them look even worse.
And that's what I wonder is, it seemed like they were trying to push their Bill C8 and C9 narratives with those questions. So I wonder if that's maybe why they didn't want to ask you anything, especially because they're probably like, did you invite this guy? No. Did you invite this guy? Well, it must have been the Conservatives, right?
Right.
Because it obviously wasn't the Bloc, because you don't speak French. So
actually, before we go any further, I still have some more Easter eggs from the committee. So when I got there, a viewer was actually there in the gallery and offered to take a picture. So ended up getting this picture taken right before committee started. I don't know why my camera is showing my stripes like that, but there it is. So that was right before committee happened. So that was kind of neat. And then, you didn't make it big enough. Hold on.
What'd you do? You broke it.
Let's fix that right now. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Cooper. Apparently, that's blurry. That's unfortunate.
It is. Yeah.
I didn't get to see it until now. Sorry about that, Mr. Cooper. But this was also neat as well. So, the Madame Normandin came and talked to myself and David right after or should I say Dr. Moskrop, right after the committee had ended. She speaks very good English, and just said, I loved your answers, really made me think. And I said to her that, we really like the Bloc. And she said, oh, really? I said, well, we don't agree with your politics, but we have a really high respect for your MPs. You have really strong MPs. And she was like, oh, thank you very much. So it's nice to actually make some inroads with somebody from another political party. Maybe that will end up in some other perspectives that we can bring on the show. So that's our hope. So fingers crossed, and we might be able to do that. So we'll see what happens. But it was great that she didn't mind having her picture taken and standing there with me. So kudos to the Bloc. Rabu Sadie's for $5. Happy Thanksgiving weekend, Ryan, Tanya, and the mods. Heck at everybody. I hope you all have an awesome long weekend.
Thank you. And that reminds me, yes, we will still be doing a Sunday evening live stream. We understand that some people might not be available, might be celebrating with family instead. We're doing our family thing on Monday, but we will be here Sunday night at 9 o'clock Eastern.
Yep. Peggy Birmingham, welcome back to NP Supporter. Thank you very much. Myron Ems for $5. Ryan, you have to adopt a saying. It's been a slice, but a slice of what?
Cake?
I guess.
Pizza? Pizza's more fun.
And CGR 902 for $2. Galron, his eyes wide. They're always wide. Kapla. We have Carol Riom for $2. The new meme is the cogent line. It's not even mine. And Gina for $50. Thank you so much, Gina. You two are the best. Well done, Ryan. Psst, get the kitten for Tanya. We have 2 cats and 3 dogs and just got a new kitten this summer, and was such a great addition and decision, even though I also got the nope at first.
Nope.
Well, the catch is in Hamilton, there's a bylaw that you can only have 4 animals in your house.
But we only have 3.
Yeah, that's great. Cabal 458 for $2 for Mr. Mosscrop. Sokath, his eyes gone.
That's a good one.
Very well played. Very well played. For those non-Trekkies, that means you have seen the light. That's what that means. And you know, maybe as a members only option, I can offer lessons in Tamarian. Maybe I can do that. Todd Forbes for $28. Thank you very, very much. Nancy for $14. Remember the Buttongate fiasco? Wouldn't be surprised about Ballotgate, just saying. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I just hope that the MPs are able to do something with this evidence and that they're able to make this stop. Because again, it's inconveniencing Canadians, those with disabilities, maybe those with learning disabilities, maybe folks who may have arthritis, for example. But it's also making a mockery of our elections.
Yeah. Yep. It's something that needs to stop, and just in some of the conversations I've had over the past week, I'm confident that there's going to be a push to do something. I'm confident that the Bloc is going to be supportive of it, and I'm confident, based on what I've seen, that the Liberals are even going to be supportive of it. So this may actually be a very simple bill, and it may get through relatively quickly. So
here's hoping.
And then at least all the parties can claim a win on this. So wouldn't that be something that we helped institute new legislation to fix the Elections Act, so
to make things better for Canadians? Yeah.
And then we claim that win, and then we say, what's next? So Peter Witten for $5. Newsflash, NP Nation heals divides between the Bloc and Common Sense Conservatives. Let's bring it home.
And thank you to Ray McClellan with a $2 super chat. It says, finally figured out how to donate. LOL, yay VPNs.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Perfect. Anyway, folks, it's been a long day, but
considering you woke up in Ottawa this morning.
At 7 o'clock, yeah. But thank you again. Can't thank you folks enough. Really can't. Just continue to share our stuff. Continue to watch it. Even if you don't think you'll like it, click on it, watch it. It's this algorithm that we're fighting against, and we'll see what happens. But it's going to be interesting, and the more we talk to people, the more we hear might be a spring election coming. Might be, and the polls are going to continue to move.
It's possible.
So
again, we don't predict the future, but this is kind of what we're hearing from our inside circles. So who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Anyway, folks, I think we're going to call it there. So have a wonderful night. Thanks for joining us tonight to watch this or rewatch this if you'd seen it before. It was absolutely a blast.
Is it weird watching yourself work?
Yes.
Or commenting on yourself work, I guess.
It wasn't as weird because I edit videos with me in them all the time. What was weird is hearing the MPs call me Mr. Davies. It was weird hearing Cooper call me Mr. Davies, and Calkins and Jackson and the rest of it. It was just bizarre. Like, my ears were like, they're not supposed to say that. But they were. So there you go. Anyway, folks, it's been a slice, but a slice of what, right?
A slice of pizza.
So have a wonderful evening, and we're doing fingers crossed, we're recording 2 interviews tomorrow. Not with politicians, but they should be interesting nonetheless. And hopefully you will like the discussions that we end up having. So until next time, have a good night, and we'll see you in the comments.
Thanks, everybody.